just the economic. That's a big part of it. You're right, but there's also a cultural element. In Germany, a lot of the uprising was fueled by unemployment and poverty, but it was also the feeling of cultural depravity of Magnus Hirschfeld and the Frankfurt School there and all that, which was a direct rejection of Jews and their influence, which is what culminated in Nazism.
Because I've worked in construction, you mentioned unions. I've done a lot of work with anti-Semites and Mexicans. I worked in Brooklyn. I employed a lot of, or worked for companies that employed a lot of Mexicans and white people.
Were they here legally?
Legally, you could pay a person up to $6,000 without verifying their legal status as a day laborer.
Oh, nice.
Well, I'm saying legally as a contractor, you could pick up a day laborer and use them for up to $6,000 of labor before verifying their status. So
great for our economy in our country.
Well, some of them, reality, a lot of them were white. I was saying in Brooklyn, where I lived, there was one corner where the Polish workers stood and one corner where the Spanish workers lived. So you could pick up a Polish worker just the same as you could pick up a Mexican worker.
Okay.
But also in higher level, like unions, I'm saying
I bet the Jews enjoyed that, especially with the Polish ones, right?
Well, I work in concrete. I'm saying the people that do construction, like I see people with swastika tattoos occasionally, or other type symbols like that, and God forbid, when they collect their check, they say yes, sir. They might go to their white power rally and say they want the Jews out of America, but they come to work and say yes, sir, when they get their check. And so to some extent, I've lived like that for years of my life, and especially working in construction. So it's like, yeah, okay, these people probably want to kill me. If they had the opportunity to, they could. But that's why we have
Jews would do that. Just like Jews would do.
Well, I think that's why we have law and order. It doesn't matter whether a person's an anti-Semite or not, as long as there's law and order.
Do you think that it's unethical for a nation to say that they don't want Jews in there?
It depends on the nation. I'm saying if they didn't want Jews because they didn't want circumcision, but maybe some Jews are willing to forego circumcision.
No, they just as a nation decided that they do not want to allow Jewish people to be citizens of that country. Is that wrong?
Well, it depends. I'm just right or wrong is a loaded term in that, but I'm saying if it's selectively just the Jews, or if it's an equal rule that applies to something that excludes the Jews also. You're talking about persons like everybody's welcome but the Jews.
Yeah, pretty much. Is that wrong to say that you don't want? I mean, is there some sort of, does the world owe Jews access to themselves? Do we owe Jews the right to become that managerial class like you described?
No, I mean, look at North Korea. But I'm saying, obviously, in the U.S., I was saying America was built off of the loans of Jews. I'm saying because the Dutch East India Company, the futures exchange, the insurance exchanges were all largely founded by Jews. And periods of Europe, we made up over 50% of these exchanges. Today, maybe we make up 20% of these exchanges. So to that extent, if you created yourself within the Jewish system, so I mean, Eric might be a different because I don't know if you're communist or you're anti-banking. So if you're thinking, I don't mind Jews, I mind banking, and if the Jews are connected to that, but once you've taken the loan, that's you're talking about.
My problem is with the holistic Jew. It's not just the banking. It's also the cultural influence. It's also the racial influence. It's also the sexual politics that the Jews promote. I have to say, I really don't like the holistic Jew.
There's such a diversity. Even if I admitted to that, we looked at the statistics and saw that you're right, that even though we the Jews are the people who came up with largely credited with coming up with monotheism, today statistically we're the most atheist of all nations. Even though we were first nation to ban homosexuality, today Israel per capita has the largest rate of homosexuality. Almost like 5% of the whole Israeli population came to the gay pride parade. So I have to live with these paradoxes and saying I agree with you, but
homosexuality is still
homosexuality was not created by the Jews. And saying the Jews favor multicultural. Generally, if you look at minorities, so
I've heard this argument before. I think it was Luke Ford that made this argument, and this is some gotcha. But the fact of the matter is that there's no doubt in any Western elite's mind that the impetus, the impulse for homosexuality on a cultural scale, the acceptance of it is a Jewish phenomenon. It's Jews in pop culture that institute this in our intellectual class, in our literature, in our movies, in our Will and Grace and sitcoms, and there's no doubt that the Jews, even the very lawsuit that legalized gay marriage was done by Roberta Kaplan, who, by the way, is now suing people that did a First Amendment rally in Charlottesville on frivolous grounds just because she's trying to now overturn the First Amendment. So, yeah, these are all Jews, pal.
But
They're all Jews.
Obviously, because we're a minority, and the coalition of minorities. I mentioned like Revenge of the Nerds politics, where we're saying that's how we do it. We form coalitions of people, and the politics generally, because we're a minority, we form coalitions with other minorities, and that includes gays. So even me, I'm not a big fan of homosexuality, but the politics, so to say, in order to fight you and what you're trying to do, I'm going to have to team up with the gays in order to keep
It's not a team. No, hold on. It's not.
It is a team. So even though
it's more like you're the coach. It's more like you're the coach, and you got a bunch of black players, and you're directing them. That's different than being on a team. Okay, you're leading this coalition. You're creating it out of nothing, with money and press and political will. The whole thing about homos is not something that just came out of the ether. It's something that Jews memed into reality. The idea that homosexuality is a community instead of a perversion is a Jewish invention.
What was that, Doovid?
Universal humanism. And just saying that we're protecting universal humanism. And so say, I'm not a big fan of homosexuality, but in order to protect universal humanism, if the homosexuals, if I have to protect them, I will, even though I don't support what they're doing. Versus what you're talking, there are a lot of Jews that are involved in lobbying and pushing these issues. And unfortunately, statistics are clearly show that Jews disproportionately are the largest class among homosexuals.
Okay, but here's the problem, Doovid, is like, for example, America was founded as a white Christian nation where it was run by males, non-homosexual males for the most part, and it was not accepted that was part of it. And just because there may have been some loans involved, I don't believe that there is any obligation owed to the Jewish people to allow them in there. And frankly, I think that this universalism, because you're out here advocating multiculturalism, you're advocating, we're going to bring together this coalition of the fringes to bring down your monoculture. This is why people don't like the Jewish people. And this is why it should be absolutely ethical to say we don't want you people in here, because everywhere you go, you admit it yourself, historically, this is what you guys do. You infiltrate the managerial castes, and then you come in and you create a coalition of the fringes to destroy the monoculture and to destroy the nation, the historical people of the nation.
When we take it, if you want to take the extreme perspective, so me and you are at war, and we're just using our tactics at war. So saying, God forbid, one day we're going to have to fight to the death, and we're going to see each other on the battlefield, and only one of us is walking away alive. And you're saying that's the inevitability. But right now, we're not fighting that way. We're fighting in City Hall and politics and these different
things.
That's
still war.
So if you're looking at it from that perspective,
the problem I have is how Jews perceive this, which is that just because Gentiles aren't killing Jews, that you perceive this as a weakness. Why can't you people be normal and just respect the fact that we're not hurting you people? We're not trying to kill you or destroy you. We just want to be left alone. And it seems that you guys are always in this warlike state where you're constantly at war with your surroundings. And I don't think that's a healthy way for a race to exist perpetually. It's worked so far, but yeah.
When you say we, you're not talking. That's why I say if you want your own like Hasidic settlement and you're saying, I just want to be left alone, why can't you give us our own township and let us form our own little cult and live there our way? That's not what you're talking about when you say.
No, I'm talking about my country, the country you're trying to balkanize. I want my country. I don't want to have Hasidic settlements.
My grandfather was a war hero. I've been here for a century, and my Jewish grandfather was a war hero in America. You guys took out loans from us. And the different perspectives are saying, like, when you say the
loans doesn't matter. Countries borrow money from each other. No. The loans don't buy you guys anything. And you can go with we've been here for a while, whatever. But the thing is, there's plenty that have been here for a while, and you don't see the Irish community going out there and organizing the homosexuals and the blacks and the Muslims to overthrow the white power structure. Nor do you see it with the Irish or the Poles, but you do see it with the Jews, and you see it only with the Jews.
White power has been overthrown since the Second World War, and the United States, from that perspective, it was way before that. The United States had this structure probably overthrown in the early 20th century.
Yeah, I mean, you agree historically, if you're talking about it as a war, we've already defeated you. I mean, you guys are hoping to come back from the.
Our problem is that we're trying to reason with Jews, and that clearly doesn't work because you see people not murdering you as a defeat. that we've been defeated because we, with our majority, with our numbers being 65%, 70% of the population, we're not rising up to smash you. You see us as weak for that. Do you know why